Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, back in Britain, given that George Osborne has jettisoned the policy altogether, you might think that the government had forgotten, or at least forgiven, the House of Lords for voting in October to delay the introduction of tax credit cuts and, of course, recompense anyone they left worse off than before. But you would, it seems, be wrong. It was in the aftermath of that double Lords defeat that David Cameron commissioned Lord Strathclyde to undertake a review of the relationship between the two houses. Today, it was delivered, and, as if by magic, foremost among its recommendations is the suggestion that the House of Lords really shouldn't be allowed to do this sort of thing anymore. Lord Faulkner, the Shadow Justice Secretary and Shadow Lord Chancellor, joins me now. This is great news for Labour, presumably. You've been agitating for generations to clip the wings of the House of Lords, or better still, chop them off altogether.
Not this one.
Why not?
Because if you've got a House of Lords not elected, its right course is to make the government think again, and if they decide they want to go ahead with something, then they can force it on the Lords. What we did on this occasion was ask the government to think again. They thought again and abandoned the policy, but they made it clear they would have their revenge. And their revenge took the form 4 weeks after they'd done it in saying, right, you can't do this again. And I think that is bad policy making and is bad for the making of policy in this country. So I'm against it.
So this is a Labour peer effectively saying that the Lords needs to retain the power to overrule the elected chamber?
It can't overrule the elected chamber. It
Effectively?
No, not effectively. It would have been open to the Commons to produce an Act of Parliament that introduced their policy. Instead, they did it by statutory instrument so that it wouldn't be properly scrutinised in the Commons, and the only risk they faced was that the Lords would make them think again, which is what happened. And when they were asked to think again, they abandoned the policy because the Commons, because there were Tory rebels, would probably have defeated it. That looks to me like a constitution working. So I think it's really regrettable that the government have found a tame Lord who will do their bidding and say, OK, even though it has obviously worked on this occasion, because the government have thought again and come up with a different policy, nevertheless, for purely political reasons, they want their revenge.
They want their revenge. They also perhaps want to address the only place in Parliament where there seems to be meaningful opposition at the moment.
Well, the Lords are capable of beating the government where you've got a built-in majority.
The Labour Party in the Commons clearly isn't.
Well, where you've got a majority of 12, no matter how effective the opposition may be, you'll almost certainly get your way. But in the Lords, that is not the case, because if you can put together a coalition that thinks what the government is proposing is wrong, you can defeat them. And that's what happened here. And when you defeat them, you don't say you can't do this. All that you are saying is perhaps you'd like to think about it. And when you do that, then of course you might encourage rebels on their own side.
You might, but I'm interested in what you say about the Commons. A majority of 12 is pretty slim. If you had a unified parliamentary Labour Party, the prospect of drawing some blood from the government would be much higher, wouldn't it? It's the disarray and disunity that has rendered the opposition relatively toothless.
There would still be a majority, overall majority of 12, and indeed, even with every single party on the other side.
It would be good if they were more unified, surely. We can agree on that.
Well, we voted together, completely unified.
Well, on this you did.
On tax credits. And as a result, we got nowhere in the Commons, but we got somewhere in the Lords. And what the Tories are now doing is say, OK, let's try and snuff out that degree of opposition by taking away from the Lords the right on this sort of issue to make the Commons think again.
Very briefly, Lord Faulkner, where is the nucleus of opposition to this government? Where is the beating heart of opposition? Is it in the Lords, or is it in the Commons? Is it in the rank and file, the grassroots?
It's in the Labour Party, but it's beyond the Labour Party as well. It's right across society. The tax credits issue was one that unified not just the political parties, but a whole range of people saying, don't punish the working poor, which is what the tax credit position was doing.
Lord Falconer, many thanks.
I've been